Welcome to Good Libations, our show about mixology. I'm Ethel Andrews. I'm a mixologist or a bartender, and we're going to make a traditional drink right now, the Planter's Punch. And this is an interesting drink that was very, very popular in the 60s. And of course, a lot of times I hearken back to that era because that's kind of my era, which basically ages me a bit, but that's okay. And this drink, if made properly, should be different and should definitely taste different from a Mai Tai because the ingredients are similar in certain ways. And there's variations of making Planter's Punch. I'm going to make it the way I like to make it. Trader Vic's had a wonderful recipe for Planter's Punch. Many other establishments like Don the Beachcombers and the wonderful Tiki Drink Place on Sunset in LA, they have great recipes also for Planter's Punch. But again, you have to kind of be careful that you're not duplicating a Mai Tai when you make this drink. And it is served traditionally in a tall glass or a footed tall pedestal glass, something like a hurricane glass. But I'm going to use my favorite glass, the chimney glass, because I think it exhibits the appearance and makes it look better in this particular type of glassware. Although again, you could use an old-fashioned glass, you could use other types of barware for it if you wish. And also, sometimes I like to use the shaker as a medium, as you know, for making tall drinks, and I simply divest them into the tall glass with some ice. Because again, I think it makes the ingredients blend together better and more efficiently. Because sometimes when you attempt to stir drinks like that, it's unsuccessful with the ice in the glass, and sometimes you tend to not pour it correctly. And you either pour too little or you miss the mark. So I might just use the shaker when I make this drink before I divest it into the glass. And anyway, a Planter's Punch is what we're going to make. So I'm going to fill the shaker with ice first of all. And again, I've lectured about this endlessly, but keep your ice stored in some sort of a medium that's going to keep it truly cold. If you don't have a bar ice maker, at least keep it in an adequate ice chest that's going to keep it truly cold, because if the ice starts melting, you're going to get watered down drinks that are not adequately cold enough, and nobody wants that. Anyway, the base ingredient for Planter's Punch is rum. Some use dark rum. In this particular case, I'm going to use sort of a golden rum. And again, I'm the queen of the free pour, so that's what I'm doing today. But you can, measure it if you wish. But sometimes free pouring, again, it's more creative. I think when you're not bound by the constraints of a certain procedure, it's all for the better. And I'm going to go ahead and squeeze lime into the drink, which most people who make Planter's Punches will do. And there's nothing like that good, fresh lime. And again, I know I lecture incessantly about this, but hand squeeze your fruit because you're getting the infusion from the peel. Oh, yes, it might be more efficient and easier if you use a juicer, but you're just getting the juice. You're not getting, in general, much infusion from the peel. So better as far as I'm concerned. And then we're going to add just a bit of lemon. And as a general rule with tropical drinks, I tend to stick mostly with lime. But there's a reason for putting a bit of lemon in a Planter's Punch, and I'm going to do that very thing right now. And also, I'm going to add just a hint of bartender's sugar. So bear with me a moment as I clumsily bend down. And the advantage of using bartender's sugar is the fact that it dissolves better than conventional sugar. Again, you could use simple syrup. That's a good thing to do too, your own simple syrup that you make yourself. Or you could use the bartender's sugar. And I'm going to add a hint of orange, which is not, technically speaking, what you generally put in a planter's punch. But I'm going to do that anyway. And again, hand squeezing to get the oil from the peel into it. And as a general rule with the planter's punch, people put grenadine in it. I'm not going to do that today. Instead, I'm going to squeeze a little bit of blood orange into it after I divest it in the glass to give it that nice color that you generally get from the grenadine. And what basically, well, one of the things that differentiates a planter's punch from a Mai Tai is you do not add pineapple. Again, some establishments will do that, but then technically speaking, you're not making a planter's punch, you're making a Mai Tai or a scorpion or some other form of tropical drink. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and shake it in the shaker, and then I'm going to fill the tall glass with ice, and we're going to divest the lovely mixture into the tall glass. And I shook it a bit more because I wanted to get more dissolving of the sugar. So I'm going to add the ice to the glass now. Yes, again, planter's punches were immensely popular in the same era that the Singapore Sling was, which is a cocktail that I demonstrated not too long ago on this show. So I'm going to go ahead and divest the ingredients into the glass. And again, as a general rule, most establishments will use grenadine to add a little bit of flavor and color, but we're not going to do that. Again, you don't have to with a planter's punch. And what we're going to do to add a little bit of color is use blood orange. And isn't it lovely to see that blood orange just kind of infusing into the drink? I mean, appearance-wise, and also demonstrating this for someone who orders a planter's punch is so lovely. People like to see that. And for a garnish, I'm going to add a bit of lime. More for the sake of appearance. And basically that's it. You have a lovely planter's punch to enjoy. And you might have stained fingers from the blood orange or from the grenadine, but it's worth it. And I'm going to taste this to see if it turned out as it should. We'll find out. Oh, that is quite lovely. Quite good. And again, depending on your palate, if you want it sweeter, you can add more grenadine, or you can keep it drier. And again, as I always say on our show, always drink responsibly and sensibly. Show respect for our community, for the safety of others. There's nothing commendable about just chugging drinks down. It really doesn't prove anything other than the fact that you don't have a refined palate. So drink safely, drink responsibly, keep our community safe. And thank you again for tuning into another episode of Good Libations. I'm Ethel Andrews, I'm a mixologist, and we look forward to future episodes. Thank you again. Goodbye.